Hey there, geeks! Adam here coming at you with another 90s comic book haul video. There's this awesome, kind of like upper class thrift store. I don't know if upper class is the right thing, but it's curated. And they recently just got in a huge haul, somebody's entire 80s and 90s comic book collection. I've been going back weekly because they were like, yeah, we got like 10 log boxes. I was like, I can't believe it. And it keeps getting better and better. So let me show you the stuff that I've found recently. And starting off here, this just got me really excited. So this is a Graffiti design catalog. I don't know if you remember Graffiti, but they were like the purveyors of all sorts of awesome comic book paraphernalia back in the day, you know, whether it was Madman. Usually a lot of the independent comics were going through, you know, alternative press and things like that. You see some milk and cheese and things of that nature, right? So that stuff was really cool to me because I love looking back, and I remember admiring a lot of that stuff in the comic book stores as I was growing up and saying, wow, that's kind of cool. I don't know about that comic, but it looks neat. It even has an order form in there, so that was really cool to see. Okay. But also, speaking of promotional stuff, so whoever had this collection before, they were grabbing the free stuff and holding on to it at the comic book stores back in the day. So look at this. This is a little promotional booklet about Onslaught. It has a lot of cool imagery in it here, and it's kind of giving you the heads up so you can get ready for what is to come. I mean, look, I don't even know what that is. That's just an energy blast, you know, coming through. But of course, in the aftermath of Onslaught, Heroes Reborn, right? So there's this awesome Heroes Reborn booklet kind of previewing all the art, telling you what you can look forward to, you know, oh, Jim Lee, Will Spertasio on Iron Man, you know, so that was really neat. And the last one here, Secret Invasion. So this was several years later, right? Like, this is a very different situation, but we have the Secret Invasion series coming up that everybody's getting ready for, so I thought it'd be a good primer to read that. Now, getting into the older stuff, though, I said there was 80s and 90s. This was very special to me. Okay, Marvel Action Universe. I had this comic book as a kid. It was one of the earliest ones I picked up. Somewhere along the way, I traded it. It got lost. I don't know. But of course, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was a big help in many of us getting into comic books in the first place. This one I actually picked up for my friend Kevin Hellions over on the Retro Network. We do the Thrift Store Horde videos together, and he is trying to collect all these infamous border comics right now, so he needed this, so I grabbed that for him. It's just fun to see. Look at this, though. Look at this holiday special. This is an Art Adams cover, and it is just a ton of fun. It's a wraparound, like you got Santa Claus there with all the crazy stuff going on. So I love these kind of one-shots where they're just having fun, right? Just like, whether it's a holiday story or not. Now, recently, Michael and I guested on the Dollar Bin Bandits podcast, and when we were on there, we were talking about all about gimmick covers of the 90s, of course, and one of the ones that came up, one of the most infamous, were these Spider-Man hologram covers, and I was looking through my log box, and I was missing the green cover. I had all the rest. Somehow this one escaped me over the years, and they happened to have it at this store, so I grabbed it. Now my 30th anniversary Spider-Man collection is complete, so I was happy about that. Now look at this one. This is another kind of weird thing. This is a what if issue, but all it says is what if Avengers. You see Carnage is there fighting with Captain America's shield. It's got the symbiote on it, but it doesn't tell you what the story is. Even when you open up the inside, it doesn't tell you what the story is. You have to flip this out, okay? I'm gonna put this up here. Okay, and it tells you on the very bottom here, what if the Avengers battled the Carnage Cosmic, okay? So, I mean, they're giving you a whole breakdown of what happened originally, and then, so yeah, so I just thought that was kind of fun, because I don't remember the what if issues from that era. That's kind of like mid-90s, and I'm like, huh, that's weird. Of course, I do remember What The, and there are issues of What The that just keep popping up in this collection, and I'm so excited. This one's huge, so I mean, this is a thick What The. Of course, we got, you know, X-Force and the X-Men on there, so I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of jokes they make at a certain artist's expense. But speaking of X-Force, check this out. So this is them kind of trying to recapture the magic, talking about gimmick comics, right? So I don't remember this era of X-Force at all, but as you see, you get a trading card inside, and it is none other than Adam X. Oh, yes. He was the most extreme of 90s comic book characters. That was kind of the culmination, right? With the backwards baseball cap, the swords, the shoulder blades, like, I don't know, it was crazy. So I'm looking forward to reading that when the time comes in the guideline, or in the timeline. Now, next up here, of course, something we're very much looking forward to, right, is X-Men 97 on Disney Plus. When that comes out, the revival of the 90s X-Men cartoon series. So I have a couple issues of X-Men Adventures, but there were way more to be had here, and I just figured it's a good time to stock up, okay? So here we got this one. Look at that cable on the cover there. So most of these were just adapting, right, to the comic book format, the stories from the animated series, which were originally adapted from comics. It gets very confusing. But this was the interesting thing to me. Okay, so this is X-Men Adventures issue number 8, all right? And this is also X-Men Adventures issue number 8. There were variant covers for X-Men Adventure comics? Like, that blew my mind. I was not expecting that. And of course, you want to put Cable on the cover at this time. Here's a few more. You got Magneto there. And Gambit versus Gambit? Huh? But some of these are pretty thick. Like, there's a lot going on here. I think they have a lot of inserts. This one has like a new Warriors insert where they were trying to get people excited again about that book and what was to come. Recently on the podcast, we were just talking about in issue 56, manga and the anime influence on American comics, specifically J. Scott Campbell, Joe Madureira. Well, these are the Joe Madureira issues, okay, where he was covering that kind of idea of what if the X-Men were in Japan, but with a manga influence, which was his art style, right? Of course, in the classic adventures back in the day, they went to Japan, but here they were taking on a whole new side of it. This was another one I picked up. This was part of a 2-pack where like the bag and board had 2 things, and I wanted what was on the back, which was the Heroes Reborn booklet, but this was in here too. And hey, I haven't read X-Men. Everybody seems to love it. Worth checking out. Now, another thing we just talked about online recently, because it's coming up soon, I asked, how many of you heard about the Wildcats X-Men crossover, and you were disappointed when you found out Jim Lee wasn't the one doing the art for everything, because we were waiting for the return of Jim Lee to X-Men, right? Well, you guys informed me that he did actually do, like, the second issue, right? But Travis Charest did the first issue, and everybody said once they saw his art, they were not even thinking about Jim Lee. They were like, it was amazing. So they actually had 2 of these. That one had a variant cover, but this is the one that seemed the most intense to me. So I grabbed it, just like super moody. So I'm looking forward to reading that with your recommendations. Everybody seemed to love it. All right. What actually got me the most excited out of this entire haul, though, we've been talking about Amalgam a lot on the podcast, and I love Access, who is this character who is owned by DC and Marvel across universes. Well, Unlimited Access was a DC versus Marvel, or more so DC meets Marvel crossover that came out later after Amalgam, then the second wave of Amalgam, and DC Marvel All Access. This was Unlimited Access. So I don't think there's too much amalgamation going on here, but it is team-ups between Marvel and DC heroes again. And I've always wanted to read that series. I just never found it till now. I was super excited. Now, getting crossing universes here, we've been talking a lot of Marvel. Robin, the miniseries #1. Now, I have all of these that I bought as a kid, but they are in rough shape. And I didn't really want to replace them all, except for this. Why? Because it still has the poster inside. And of course, my copy does not anymore, because I definitely put that on my wall as a kid. But the Brian Bolland art is just so cool. So I was very excited to get another copy of that with that interesting art there on the poster, because it wasn't exactly matching the interior, but the interior art was awesome in and of itself. Now, another crossover here between companies, not Marvel and DC, but Marvel and Valiant in the waning stages of the Valiant universe. Iron Man, Exo Manowar, and Heavy Metal. I have brought this up multiple times in the past on the podcast, because seeing this video game just blew my mind at the time. I was like, what? And this says on the back, according to this, that this is issue number 2. Because it's got Titania on it and stuff, but it says #1 in the corner. So I don't know if they're variant covers, if it was just a one-shot, or if there were 2 issues. So when I read it, I guess I'll find out. Another series that I've really been wanting to check out was this little mini-series, Gen 13 and Monkey Man and O'Brien. Again, getting back to Art Adams, right? Like, this is just, of course, I was a huge Gen 13 fan, so to find these these are ones that have escaped me for a very long time. So to read that, super thrilled. Sticking with Dark Horse, though, how about the adaptation of the Mask movie? Oh, I always love to see the, again, adapted from a comic and then made into a movie, and then the comic is based on the movie. It boggles the mind, right? So I'm looking forward to reading that. Finally here, close it off with some Image. I was reading recently in the Bad Girl special with my wife about Ballistic, right? And Ballistic is a character I wasn't super familiar with, but look, Wetworks are her special guests in her mini-series, and that's what I thought was funny, because like you see Ballistic is the headliner, but really it seems like Wetworks are, maybe the ones that are getting everybody's attention with Will's Portacio art there. Last one here, as I was reading some Image comics recently, I saw an ad for Brass. And it said that Brass had been many years in the making, like it had been announced several years prior, and it was finally going to come out. So here we go with some Brass. Oh, I think this has a flip cover, does it? What is that? Oh no, it's a wraparound cover. I'm like, what is happening there? But yeah, so some really interesting art. This is kind of this era of big, metallic, armored characters becoming a big thing. So anyway, I just wanted to share those with you because when I find a haul like that, I'm sure a lot of those comics are things that you've been looking out for as well. So stay subscribed here on Wizards Podcast on YouTube. Check us out on Twitter at Wizards Comics, on Instagram at Wizards_comics. But as always, until next time, keep your books bagged and boarded.